Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to No Question About That Daily, today with Isabel, and I'm Ed. How's it going, Isabel?
Very good. How are you?
Top, doing all right. Doing better than Ruben Amorim, who's going around smashing tellies and getting angry and all of that. Yeah. Wow. Called United the worst United team in history. He did caveat that by saying, I want the headlines. So it felt like a bit of a strategy. So what was your reaction to that press conference afterwards where he said that about United?
Yeah, do you know what? Fair enough. I can't argue with it because it is true. We're in such a bad place at United right now. And do you know what? With the dressing room story that's come out, I can't even, I don't have anything bad to say about it. You're going to be so frustrated if you're putting your all into this team. You've come in, taken this huge job and the players just aren't working for it. It's frustrating. Yeah. I'd be frustrated.
I'm no doubt. Yeah. I mean, he seems like he's got he's got this kind of smiling assassin vibe, hasn't he? He's super nice and friendly and charming, but he's an absolute killer on the other side. He's already ostracized Rashford and dropped Garnacho, and it doesn't seem like there are any egos he's going to sort of accept, which is good. I mean, it's not like United don't need this. Need someone to really show the way. And yeah, the story about him smashing the TV in the dressing room at the weekend after the Brighton game. I like it. I mean, to be honest, I liked it when Fergie kicked the boot at Beckham. Not that I thought that Beckham necessarily deserved it more than anyone else at the time. This is back in 2003, I think. It's just like that anger's sometimes needed if you need to jolt the players into action. So anyway, that's kind of good summary of what we're talking about today. Ruben Amorim, his entrance and struggle at United and what to do about it. So just checking before we came on air, his record, 15 games, 5 wins, 3 draws, 7 losses, 33% win rate. It's the worst of any United manager in living memory. Funnily enough, I did my Substack this week. I do a weekly newsletter. nqatpod.substack.com if you want to read me pontificating about something each week about the worst United teams in history. I mean, he's exaggerating, of course, because United have been relegated a few times in history. So there's definitely worse teams. But in modern memory, this is as bad as it gets.
It's really bad. I mean, you can sense it around the club. I think the way we're performing against the kind of the Liverpools or the Man Cities or the Arsenal, I mean, we performed really well in all their matches. We fought really hard. And then we go and perform how we did against Southampton or even Brighton. It's such a mess. And I think it's fair. We are in a very, very bad form. And of course, Amorim is going to bring that up because it's fair. It's true. And I think Amorim's, we all know, he's got the hardest job on his hands right now. I mean, coming into kind of the mess that Ten Hag left on, it is a mess. The players are all over the place. The club's all over the place. It's such a hard job. And to be honest, I really like him and hopefully he can do well for us. But I mean, I can't fault him for the dressing room freak out.
No. Ineos and Sir Jim, knowing Sir Jim, will charge him for it, of course. Although I get him some budget TV from the charity shop. Because more cuts this week, actually. Brian Robson, Dennis Irwin, Andy Cole, who are all ambassadors for the club, have been told that their ambassadorial contracts will be cut or reduced in some fashion. So, yeah, anyway, back to Amorim. Yeah, just the hardest job possible. He's got a squad that doesn't suit the system he wants to play. And I guess you could make the argument that, okay, well, maybe you should just get through this season with whatever system they're going to get results, but he clearly has come in as a manager that plays his system. The management executives, Barada and Wilcox and Sir Jim, all know that he's doing this. They've bought into that, so they have to support him and back him in the transfer market this window. We've got 9 days to do something. And yeah, he's got a lot of square pegs in round holes. He's playing these fullbacks who aren't really wing backs. It's not really working. He's trying different combos in midfield and defence. Up front, we're not creating or scoring chances. I guess we create sort of enough, but it's changed around completely. And he said in the press conference after Brighton, they didn't hold their positions. And I suspect that's the thing that made him really angry. He's clearly given them instructions that they haven't followed. That's going to piss off any manager, isn't it?
Definitely. When, you're telling your players what to do and they're not following it. It's really frustrating. And this is going back to my point, he's putting in all this work and the players just aren't reciprocating it, which is so frustrating. And obviously he's frustrated, but as fans as well, I think we're all frustrated because why aren't they putting in the work? Or why are they doing it against some teams, but they're not against others? I mean, it's like how you're never going to win the fans over by that. And I think that's what Man United, it is a lot about the fans. They have to win the fans back, and they're not going to win us back by doing that performance against Brighton.
No. I mean, didn't he say, and well, Martinez said it after the Arsenal game and the Liverpool game, maybe he said it was about mentality. Bruno came out after Liverpool and said he was really angry that they couldn't do it every week. And then Amorim said in one of his pre-match pressers, I'll learn more about my team playing in the Southampton game than I will in the games against Arsenal and Man City. And I thought took it as a throwaway. I mean, managers say things like that, but he was challenging them to keep that level of intensity, to run like mad dogs, as he said. He wants them absolutely shattered at the end of the game. And it doesn't feel like the intensity was there against Southampton. It was very flat. Maybe they were tired. I don't know. But it was very flat. And Southampton, bottom team in the league, actually in spells of that game, took the game to us. It's not like they just sat deep. And then Brighton, a decent side, mid-table, but they just routinely beat us now at this point. So,
they do.
Mad, isn't it? This is Brighton who 20 years ago were almost out of business, playing in Gillingham, and it shouldn't be like this. So I get his anger. He wants them to be intense every single game, and for every single game to matter as much as Liverpool, Arsenal, City away. And it feels really sort of basic to say they don't feel like they're working as hard, but there's something true about it as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, you mentioned about the players are tired, but they are tired, which is that not worrying? Because why are they tired? Everyone else in the league is also playing as many matches as Man United. So that's a little bit worrying, I think, why the players are so tired. Obviously, maybe we're not as rotating now as much as other teams. I think we've figured out pretty much who we want to, well, Amorim wants to play. Obviously, Mainu and Ugarte have played pretty much every match so far. They look tired against Brighton, I thought.
They did, yeah.
It is worrying because why? I mean, of course they are playing a lot, but also other teams are. So I think the tired thing is annoying for me. But yeah, the main thing is just that I don't understand how they can perform that well against Arsenal and then not against Southampton. It's just, I think it's a mentality thing. I don't know why, but I just think they don't want it as much, which is weird because it's like, I think at Southampton, that should be, no offense to Southampton, but that should be an easy win for us. Like you saw Forest really kind of easily beat them. And then it's like, well, why can't we do that when we're performing that well against
Forest are a good side.
Yeah, true, they are.
Years ago, Roy Keane said, when he was a player, he said, you have to work as hard as everyone else or harder than everyone else, and your quality will then decide the game. And this was when United had a top team, and the idea was that you run as hard, because it's a physical game. It's still a sport for athletes. And if you work as hard or harder than everyone else, if you're a better player, that'll come to the fore. And I think that's true. United should have better players than Southampton and Brighton and others that we've lost to recently. We do have. They're paid better. And I know we like to overpay. That's completely ruined our finances and all of that. But yeah, it's the work thing. And he's got a big squad there. And he did rotate heavily in his first sort of 5, 6, 7 games, didn't he? And now has settled back. But I don't know, this schedule has been crazy. I mean, it's been busy, of course. But he's had a couple of weeks recently where they had no midweek fixture. Yeah. And so I don't know if it's any more excuse than anyone else. Brighton have played in Europe too, and in cups. They played in the cup last weekend, or whenever it was. Same as us. So I don't know the excuse kind of, and it's certainly not going to work with the fans, that I'm tired excuse. No. I mean, it's like, I understand they're athletes and you're trying to peak for the games and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, fans are just never going to buy that. And they can see instinctively, fans, like who's working hard, who's not. And it really, even the perception of not working hard enough really gets to people. And look at Marcus Rashford. That is one of the big criticisms of him. Obviously, he stopped scoring, which is the big thing. Paul Pogba before him, others who've had this kind of perception that they weren't working hard enough. It really turns fans against you. And apparently it turns the manager against the players as well.
Yeah, well, it's annoying because when you know the potential's there, it's like, why are you not putting in the work, or what's gone on? I always, it is about Rashford, I think, at the minute. It's like, we know that he's a good player, but why isn't he doing it for United? Even before he was, obviously, he's not being included in the squads anymore as for now, but before, when he was included in the squads, he wasn't trying. He was trying, but not to his full potential that we've seen Rashford. So I just think it's that, again, I think it's a mentality thing. I just don't think the vibe at the club right now, they don't want to try. I think Amorim is getting there, and I think players are going for it. And do you know what? I did think against Brighton, I think, of course, there were so many issues, but I did see them trying. I thought, I did think we tried, but it just wasn't enough. There's so many issues with the formations it's just a mess.
Yeah, they were quite aggressive in the first half. It definitely dropped off. And so there's one thing about the intensity, the other thing's about the application of the tactics that Amorim wants, and clearly he wasn't happy with that, angry with that. We'll see if that leads into a different team against Rangers on Thursday, and whether there's a sort of punishment for what he sees as mistakes, whether he needs to try a few different plays there. Obviously, he's kind of sidelined a few plays. Rashford, we know. Garnacho's not really been starting a couple. Casemiro's completely out. Eriksen's had one start, I think, which was against Newcastle. Toby Collier appears to be ahead of both Eriksen and Casemiro, so maybe there's a change coming there as well, and they'll phase Collier into the side. I thought he did all right when he's come on in a few attempts. Yeah, so he's trying to find solutions, and maybe smashing up TVs and throwing teacups or whatever he's doing is part of that. There's a kind of negative vibe around the club as a whole, though. It's not just on the pitch. I mean, obviously that is the thing that matters more than anything, but it's the cup. Like 250 staff losing their job, Fergie losing his job as an ambassador, players, as I said, losing their jobs. They've swapped out the security guards for a cheaper firm, and now there are massive queues at Old Trafford. Ticket prices have risen for people who buy single match day tickets. The ticket prices came out for the Leicester City League Cup, and Leicester fans have been charged like 50-something quid to come to a League Cup game. There's just like general sense of negativity. The finances are horrendous. £537 million of net debt, £400 million owed in transfer fees to other clubs. Unbelievable. Where's that £400 million gone? I can't see it on the pitch, So the vibe overall is just super negative and down, and we need something from the players to just get everyone feeling better and positive again. And for Amorim too, so he's under less pressure because it's cranking up. He's got a lot of free hit this season, basically. He's not going to get fired unless United lost every game from here till the end of the season, but that won't happen. The bigger problems if we do that. But But he needs the vibe to shift and to be more positive.
Definitely. I think most fans won't look at it from, the problems are rooted higher than just, Amorim or the squad. It comes from so much surrounding the club. Obviously, we just see the football, so we base it off the football. But like you said, I mean, if we can just get some good wins, a bit of confidence in the team, we need better performances, more consistent performances. You will get fans behind you and it will just lift up the club a little bit and hopefully, make Amorim settle in a bit better, understand his players more. Because I think at the minute, he is still understanding his players, which is obvious. He's not been here that long. It's gonna take a season for him to really kind of settle and figure out, what he wants for this squad. But yeah, it's all a work in progress. But I think you do have to look at it. There's so much going on around the club. It's not just the football, which is, the money is such a big problem at the minute. It'll be interesting to see what we do in the summer, or if we do anything in the summer. I was thinking about that the other day, because obviously in January we've not really done anything. So summer will be telling, I think.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because you can kind of guesstimate where United will be financially. Yeah. So in the last financial results that were released, they were guiding 140 to 150 million EBITDA. That's free cash flow, so that's cash they can play with. But they do owe 200 million pounds of net transfers this financial year, so within the next 12 months. And from a PSR perspective, well, it all resets on the 30th of June, and you go into next PSR year, and it's done on a rolling 3-year cycle. And so in theory, because you amortize it all out over the 5-year contract of the player, you could spend all that money up front. You can lose 105 million pounds over those 3 years, and owner financing, so Jim can put that money in if he wants. So in theory, you could spend an awful lot. In theory, so 2 problems, the barriers for United doing that. One, cash. There's not much cash on hand, so it would have to be the owner injecting money. And there's a problem with the ownership because the Jim only owns 28 and a bit %. And why is he going to inject that cash if he's not going to get more equity? That's the problem. And also, it's bloody risky. Like, if you spend your whole 3-year cycle all in one go, there's nothing left in the kitty after that. So I think they'll run a fairly even ship, and they'll try and ship some players out. So Eriksen out of contract. Casemiro has 1 more year, but they'll clearly try and ship him out. They'll make a decision on some underperforming players, maybe even the 2 forwards who aren't scoring any goals.
Yeah.
Think about Garnacho as well, since his agents are hawking him around every club in Europe at the moment. Clearly, he's thinking about his future. Marcus Rashford will hopefully, for him, I hope finds a loan this winter, because sitting on the bench for the next 6 months is no good for United. So they'll try and take a fee in the summer, I guess. Sancho goes officially full time this summer, £25 million. So they'll try and do some creative deals to make some money and then spend 100 million net, is my guess. Could be wrong, but that would be about even.
Yeah.
And so if you can make 100 million pounds worth of sales, which is what they did last year, then you can spend 200 million. Something like that.
Yeah. You said about Rashford. I hope something happens within the next, just over a week. Because, like you said, what is the point of him sitting on the bench all season? And part of me...
Not even on the bench.
Yeah, not even on the bench. Part of me is like, I want him to come back on the bench and play a couple games for us. But there's just not really any point, is there? I think it's gone. I think he's gone. I think him and the manager, it's not going to happen. So Rashford, definitely, I hope the deal happens. And obviously Garnacho's an interesting one. I know we spoke about that before, but no, it'll be interesting to see if which players go in the summer. Like you said, you named obvious ones, but like Garnacho, I don't think he's an obvious. Of course, there's loads of rumours, but I don't think he's an obvious, leader in the summer. But you don't know. But we've got to bring in players.
Yeah, the argument from Amorim's point of view about Garnacho is does he fit the system? Yeah. He's a inside forward. I wouldn't call him a winger, really. Inside forward who does best when running and cutting inside, shooting, finishing. He's a good finisher. Can be a good finisher. It's like all forwards, it's a bit sporadic. I see the arguments online from fans who are like, well, if this fits this, then might as well get the best fee you can. You reinvest it. My counter argument to that one always is, one, it's almost impossible to find players of his age, under 21s, who contributed many goals and assists. He got 37 over the last 2.5 years or whatever it is. Yeah. That is more, in fact, than Lamine Yamal, unbelievably so for a player of his quality. So it's almost impossible. So it should be a giant fee.
Yeah.
50 million is not even close to what it should be, given that United spent 72 million euros on Højlund, so 65 million pounds or something. It should be a giant fee, just given the potential there. Now, you can argue whether how high his potential is. It's hard to say, right?
Yeah.
No? Cristiano Ronaldo was dummying himself for doing tricks without any use at 20. It took a little while before he really started getting the numbers. I'm not saying Garnacho will ever become Cristiano. Maybe he will, but who knows? Anyway, just the point, if you're going to sell a player like that, which is exactly the kind of player that United have to build around, young, high potential players who come on a reasonable fee and reasonable wages and are not expecting Champions League football right now. If you're going to sell a player like that, it's got to be a massive fee. And then the second point to my counter argument against that is that over the last 10 years, United have failed, I'd say 9 times out of 10 with transfers coming into the club. And are you going to bet on this club getting it right?
Nope.
Bag 60 million and you get the right player. So,
no,
I'd rather bet on Amorim being a good coach and be able to coach the player to do what he wanted. Anyway, that's just my thought. I know people have counter arguments to that.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a risky one. I just hope that, I think Amorim's doing decent with what he's got so far. Obviously, we saw Zaxi come in. Do you know what? I thought Zaxi was okay on Sunday. I know there's still so much areas for improvement, but I definitely think there's a player there in Zaxi. It's just whether it's at United or whether, he does need to progress definitely in the next couple months, hopefully. If, Amorim is going to switch around him and Højlund a bit and, figure out which ones go in where. But I think there's a player there. It's just, again, another, like you said, another transfer that's just not really worked out. But it's just, at the minute, it's all about, I think, Amorim deciding which... I just think he's not quite got the formation 100% yet. I think generally it's good, but then even I thought again the defence against Brighton wasn't great. I don't know whether it was during back five.
Clearly Brighton exploited all our weaknesses. Yeah.
It was just a bit of a big fail, so that needs to be looked on. But it's such a difficult one because I like Amorim, of course, and I just hope that he can do well. But I like the flip out. I like the rage out. I think that's what Fergie did, and it worked. So
the hairdryer.
Yeah. So hopefully, we'll work with these players.
Yeah, we'll find out how good Amorim's sort of EQ is, because obviously Ferguson's was off the chart. He could put an arm around a player when he needed to. He could get angry when he needed to. Sometimes he would. Ex-players have said this. He'd get angry at a player who'd actually played well because he knew that player could take it, and while staring at another one who knew the player couldn't take the anger and he wouldn't, but he wanted to G that player up as well. Ferguson just knew what to do. I mean, he flew to Paris and put an arm around Eric Cantona when Cantona wanted to quit the club in 95. So knows exactly what to do. I suspect Amorim has that as well. I hope it's not just, sort of bipolar, happy and then super angry all the time. He's got to find a way of communicating his ideas. Obviously, 7 defeats in 15 games it just puts so much pressure on him. The players could lose faith. I don't know how long that would take before they started going, okay, this is not the guy, but I don't mind a bit of anger at what's happening, and I hope it just goes with the arm around the shoulder if that's what's needed. And he's obviously an excellent communicator.
Yeah.
So with the public and I assume with the players as well. So, all right, I guess that's it for today. Check in on Ruben Amorim, Mr. Angry. I almost called him Angerim then, but maybe that should be it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Isabel.
Thank you.
Thank you, listeners, viewers, wherever you are. Have a great day. Bye now.